Hi and welcome. I'm Lisa. Thanks for joining me here on my website or YouTube channel for another card video. Today I'm actually doing a product review of a few Wendy Vecchi items that scrapbook.com sent me, and I thought I would share my thoughts with you all on them. Now I want to say I'm not obligated to scrapbook.com to do this review, but since they so generously sent me the product, I thought it would be nice. My very first thoughts were, this is pretty, but it's out of my wheelhouse. However, I'm all for trying new things. I believe that's what helps us grow as creators. The more we use it, stretch it, push it beyond what we know, the more creativity we have. So I jumped in and guess what? I had a blast with this. Now, I had seen Wendy Vecchi do a demo of a few products, and she shared this really cool inlay masking technique on Facebook, and I was very intrigued. In fact, I had commented on the video on how I really needed to try that technique, so I knew a tiny bit about the products, but not enough. Since scrapbook.com was so generous to send me the products, that's where I started with researching because they have free classes by Wendy Vecchi. So I watched the videos, which by the way are very informative, but much to my surprise, Wendy shares that amazing inlay masking technique in one of the classes. So if you don't do anything else, I recommend you hop over there and check out those free classes. They are amazing, and I'll link those below for you along with the products I'm using in today's video. Also, stick around to the end because I have a few more samples. So this is the Wendy Vecchi Make Art Stamp Die Stencil Set called Country Flowers, and just like the name suggests, you get the stamps, dies, and stencil in one package at a great price point. Now, I also received a couple of Archival Inks, Red Carnation and Leaf Green. These are from Wendy's palette, and also her Perfect Cardstock in white. And I have to say that as soon as I finished making these cards, I went straight to scrapbook.com and started adding things to my wish list. So I feel the best way for me to review this with you is just to go ahead and demonstrate with it. So I'm going to do a quick tutorial on one of the cards I created, and it's actually very easy. So the first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and do some inking with this stencil. Now this is like a masking stencil. You get two parts to it. So I'm going to start with the center piece there, and I'm going to mask off my card with that center piece. I added a little bit of pixie spray to the back of that piece, and I'm just going to go ahead and center it up on my cardstock. Then I'm going to take my blender brush and load it up with some of that gorgeous red carnation ink, and I'm going to start laying the ink down on the stencil and then work my way outward, pulling that ink off the stencil as I blend the ink out. Now I started in the middle of the stencil because I want to work dark to light, so heavy pressure in the center and then lighten the pressure as you move outwards. I went ahead and removed that stencil and went in with the other stencil to start adding some blue ink there. Now I'm using a Memento Summer Sky ink because currently I only have two of the Wendy Vecchi inks. So for me, I wanted to keep the edges dark and lighten up the pressure as I moved inward. So there we have that. This would have been a lot easier had I have secured everything down, but I didn't. I just decided, what the heck, let's just fly by the seat of our pants and go with it. It worked out just fine, but I do recommend you taking the time to secure everything down. So what you can't see me doing right now is oohing and aahing over the way that turned out, and with a simple stencil. Like, seriously? So far I'm loving this. Now I decided to go ahead and stamp my sentiment on the front of the card, and I'm going to be using a sentiment from scrapbook.com's My Funny Valentine sentiment set. Now I purchased this myself back around Christmas. Whenever I make a purchase from scrapbook.com, I always check out their sentiments. They're sassy without being offensive or rude. So, and I really like that. So I decided I would use the Nothing Says I Love You Like a piece of folded paper. I just love that sentiment, and you can use it year round. I did trim down that panel with my paper trimmer. So now you're going to see me jump around a little bit, not literally, just in my creative process. I wasn't sure if I wanted to stencil the polka dots on that card panel or not, so I decided to go ahead and start stamping the images using Archival jet black ink. And I just wanted to give myself a little bit of time to make up my mind on what I wanted to do. And so I decided to go ahead and stamp these images. Now, I did use my acrylic block to stamp the images, and I'm actually going to use it on the layering so you can see how easy it is to stamp with the stamps. So all I'm doing here is going back in with that stencil and adding some tone on tone to that panel with the polka dots. So I'm going to use an ink dauber to add ink to my stamp because I want to build some ink up in the center to make it a little bit darker. And since I have one ink, it'll make it a little bit easier that way. Now, all you have to do when you're lining your stamps up is just look straight down over the stamp. And it's so easy to line up. I always do a quick check, making sure the petals lined up before making contact with the paper. But if you're not comfortable doing it this way, you can use a stamp positioning tool. But I felt like by me using the acrylic block, it would maybe give you an idea of how easy this is. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp the leaves and butterfly and then run these through the Sidekick with the dies, just so you get a feel for how easy they cut. And of course, they cut perfectly. So I wanted to use all the stamps that came with this set. So I decided to use this detail stamp along with some VersaFine Onyx Black ink to create like a wreath around that center there. So I'm going to go ahead and use my stamp positioning tool for this because I've come too far at this point to mess this up. So I decided the placement of the stamp, and then I would lift it with the lid of the MISTI, ink up the stamp, and then stamp it. I made sure to move my die cut pieces each time and also cleaned my stamp before I repositioned it so I wouldn't mess anything up. I'm just going to use some square mounting foams to go ahead and adhere the die cut pieces to the card, and then a little bit of Gina K glue to the back of the panel and center that up on a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inch card base. Of course, I have to have a little bit of bling, so I'm going in with some sequins to finish this off. Now here's a quick look at all the cards I created using this set, and my final thoughts on the Wendy Vecchi products are, I love them. I love that you get the stamps, dies, and a stencil at such an amazing price point. The Archival inks have always been great, and these are no different, just beautiful bright colors. I love the two that I received. The cardstock, love it. Makes great card bases. It's super smooth. It die cuts like a dream. I really enjoyed using it. So let me know in the comments below, do you like product reviews or do you prefer just card tutorials? I love reading your feedback. Also, let me know if you've used any of the Wendy Vecchi products. I would love to see what you created with them. Thanks for joining me today. I hope you'll click that subscribe button and hit the bell to be notified of new content to this channel. As always, know how much I appreciate you taking the time to watch, and until next time, keep crafting.